Hey everybody! This video I want to quickly look inside Revit API 2027 and find out what's new, what was removed and what has changed. So we better know what needs to be changed in our scripts to avoid breaking them. And also I'm going to introduce you quickly to my new update to RVTDocs, which I think you're going to find quite exciting, so let's have a look. So as you know, when we inspect these kind of pages, there are mainly three sections: changes, removals and additions. And I like to always start with obsolete removals because it's usually quicker to go through and you will instantly notice some patterns what is being changed. So let's go through this. And you can see it's sorted by classes, properties, methods, and so on. And you already can see the theme that there are like a lot of rebars and mechanical zones. But let's go one by one. So first of all, classes, mass surface data. Never used it, but based on the message, so they suggest you to use energy analysis detail mode and analysis surface instead. If you ever use that, that's what you do now. Then let's go over properties and well, let's start right away with mechanical because that takes like 90% of all these. And inside there's like a lot of them. I'm not gonna read each one, you can see it on the screen. If you need it, you can read it. But I'm just gonna check some messages because you will notice that it says, for example, please use generic zone object and its properties. And I think it's gonna be similar for all of them. So the conclusion, I would say that, well, they're changing from zone to generic zone. Then there's also something about and system zone element type. So yeah, that's what actually we need to know, that from this one, we go to those ones. In case you use zones, that's how you do it, I guess. I never worked with zones, so no idea. But that's something for you to know. Also that one, this one is just removed. Seems like nothing replaces it, at least according to obsolete messages. Then let's see, then reinforcement settings, number varying length rebar. So this is something structural. This method depreciated. We suggest using numbering method again, just replaced. And view positioning, that's interesting. Please use view anchor instead. So they are renaming and changing a few things here and there. And if you ever use this viewport positioning, now it's anchor. That's okay. Now let's move to methods, and very clearly this is all about structural rebars. So let's just start on the top. So first of all, the new zone method was replaced. Now you have to use generic zone object instead. I assume it's going to be generic zone dot create because they try to get rid of all this new kind of object method. Instead they bring it to actual classes. Then zone add spaces, again, use generic zone. Again, use generic zone. So if you work with zones, just the whole class seems to be replaced with generic zone, or at least to some extent. Now, some structural connection handlers. Again, I haven't really worked with structure and MEP in Revit API, so I cannot tell you much, but at least I can point you in the right direction. And now, if you're a structural engineer working with rebars, this section is for you. That's a long message, so please use that one or that one and stuff like that. So yeah, if you use any of them, I think I'm just going to open so you can see obsolete messages in case you need it. Because, well, by default, these obsolete messages, they are not that accessible. But you can pause if you need any of those ones and read it on your own. I'm just not going to do it. I think it's going to be mostly the same thing. I'm just going to open it up one by one. And you can just pause the video to find whatever you need personally. I think I opened all of them. And meanwhile, we're going to go to enumerations and see mass surface again. Something about this, mass surface, and then rebar hook orientation, use rebar termination orientation. So yeah, they changed the naming again. And one of the parameters, stairs curve type, is changed. So this is what's completely gone from Revit API comparing to 2026. If mainly there are like zones and rebars that got affected and a few things in between. Overall, seems like that's what was changed most. All right, now the next one is API additions. Let's have a look. So first of all, annotation API additions. So it's going to be sorted by those categories. Let's maybe collapse all of them just to see everything. To be honest, quite many additions in many different places, but I think that's actually quite standard. So first of all, annotation API additions. Well, there's a new annotation label, has a new class itself, represents the label elements in annotations families, blah, 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 blah. Uses this property and has this method. Then there's also annotation label parameter formatting, and it's just selecting one of these options: prefix, sample text, suffix, and so on. And a new method to get parameter definition. Okay, so we have a new class for annotation API. In architecture, so wall API additions, now we can set host wall ID, get host wall IDs, and can set wall host ID, and can set host wall. So this is about this new feature that wall will follow the host wall's movement or changes in slanted angle. Okay, I haven't really looked into this feature, no idea how it works, but in case you're going to be automating, know that there are these settings now. Stair, fret, and riser number. So there is a new class for getting that. And that's it for architecture. Okay, next one. Category API additions. Just one new method, get built-in category discipline, allows users to get force type ID for discipline of the built-in category. So I think this is something that they're preparing Revit for the merge with Forge somewhere in the future or some other Forge platforms. But yeah, so apparently now categories have disciplines assigned. Now let's go to the next one, Cloud Work Sharing API additions. So I haven't really worked with that one either. So in case you do, that's all the information you need. Now the next one is Coordination Model API. So added functionality that allows users to manage coordination model in Revit documents and their visibility control. A bunch of new classes, a few enumerations, and a few kind of parameters for shared coordinates. Okay, moving next. Now, the next one is extended properties. This functionality enables access to properties created outside of Revit. Okay, so there is new class parameter access. The new classes in external data namespace, external properties link, element, link load content, link data, bindings, link values. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one, how it works. If you know anything about that one, can you comment below if that's something worth really getting into? To me, it seems like they want to take shared parameter file and make it maybe stored on the cloud or something. Not sure how it works, but interesting. Now, energy and MEP analysis. Well, here's what's new. So we have new classes, sizing and calculator, a bunch of different methods. You can read them here. Then analytical segments, space type, energy data settings. Yeah, I think I'm going to speed up a little because there's just a lot to read, and I'm sure you don't want to read it either unless you are into using it. So instead, I'm just going to kind of go through and try to make it faster. So external data manager framework. This release introduces a new framework for integrating custom external data types into Revit managed link dialog. It's centered on external server that supplies the roles for managed link table and handles commands such as add, remove, or load. Okay, so we got the server, we can get different information from it. Okay. Now let's just move to the next one, fabrication. A few new classes, bunch of new methods, and a few new properties. In case you're in fabrication, that's what you need to know. Geometry. So surface is coincident with, determines whether two surfaces are coincident, ignoring any envelopes. Not even sure what that means, but might be useful for geometry. Then IFCs have opening dimensions to calculate dimensions for an IFC opening, and also sort face edges. Let's move next. Link API additions. Oh, that's interesting. So Revit link graphic settings. We have new properties for line weights. Control whether the line weights for the link in the view should be a host model or link. Okay, honestly, I expected much more because, well, if you try to work with link documents in Revit API, you know it can be a hassle and quite limited sometimes. So unfortunately, we didn't get much. Now, numbering. So because they have this new feature for renumbering in views and stuff, yes, we can also use it in API. Yes, so there's this new numbering system in Revit API, offers flexible way, blah, 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 blah. Numbering parameters, formatted, so on, so on. There's quite a lot included. Honestly, didn't expect this much. And, I'm not sure if in Revit API we really need it because we can create our own logic how we renumber things, but maybe it's going to make things easier and faster to do once you kind of figure out how it works in API. But for now, just know that it exists. Material API additions. Let's see. So new APIs for representing and associated embodied carbon data with materials, enabling sustainability focused analysis workflow directly within rate model. So if you're into all this analysis, that might be for you. If not, well, we're gonna close it. Then the next one, parameter API additions, and there's new methods, parameter utils, write, shared parameter, to file. That's actually very useful. Generates a shared parameter text from the shared parameters in the given document. Only shared parameters that are used in the projects are written to the output. That's quite unfortunate that only used ones, but I think it's pretty cool because that probably going to export the GUID and all the information so we can quickly get the same parameter into tags and stuff like that. So that's good. Probably it's also possible to do it manually now since we have API for that. But I think that's already something interesting. Tags. Quite many. I don't really want to read it all, but you can see it's about leader in tags. There are a bunch of different new properties, new methods, and stuff like that. Get leader start. I'm going to spend a lot of time there. So property line now exposes classes for property line and property table entity with a full set of method properties, enabling third-party developers to convert supported elements into native Revit components. Okay, so now we can automate our property lines. Then structure, that's going to be a big one. Yep. Oh, so here's the main one. So this release expands the structure API to support programmatic creation and modification of boundary conditions for structural analysis. Developers can create points, lines, area boundary conditions directly in a project, either as a custom geometry or hosted on existing elements with detailed control over this. Okay, and then it probably just gives you all the methods to do that. So set curves, boundary conditions, and so on. Okay, I'm not gonna go in depth. I think that summarized what it's for. I just moved to the rebars, probably also a big one. Yeah, even bigger. So yeah, if you are in rebars, just come here and read. I'm not really in the rebars, so I'm not even gonna try to make any sense of that. Just gonna kind of scroll through so you can pause it and read if you want to. Yeah, but I will close it. Then mechanical, so HVAC zone data and new properties for heating and cooling air temperatures. Okay, and UI additions. Let's see. So dockable pane, we can set title now. Something for project browser, auto expands sheet views and view placement. Okay, then some other options, and yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so these are our API additions. Took a bit longer than I expected, but well, you saw what's there. If there's something of your interest, you can pause and read more about this, or just come to the website. And now the changes, right? So we know what's removed, what's added. Let's see what changed. So first of all, Revit has been migrated to .NET 10. And you can see here what's changing. It's mostly for C# developers. If you're using pyRevit developer team gonna kind of handle it for us, luckily. Also, I heard that Revit 25 and 26, they also gonna migrate to, I think, .NET 10, because .NET 8, I think it's expiring support in the end of the 2026. So there is some migration there as well. Now let's look what else. So you can maybe start closing it. Option for adding dependency isolation. Again, this is about creating this manifest settings, and this is for C# developers. I'm mainly in pyRevit, so I'm not going to focus so much on C#. Also, by the way, I saw that they changed the location, and I saw Gavin Nichols asking about this and a few other people. So if you know, this was your old location, and this is the new location to kind of show up your plugins. And they say that this is for improved security. Now, what's next? Cloud model API changes, well, depreciated member and then replacement members. Okay, we can see something removed, something added. Then energy analysis, so thermal property. So for this one to this one, and available on following classes. Okay. Next, IFC API changes. So exporter IFC, that might be a big one. Let me see. So we just have a bunch of older ones and then the new ones. Okay, unfortunately, there is no settings that I wanted to see to get easily all this IFC kind of pre-made settings and stuff. But that's okay. I guess maybe next year. Then import export API changes. What else can we do? They depreciated a bunch of members and okay, they just removed the AXM import functionality. I never heard of this kind of whatever format it is, so I'm just gonna close it. Structure API changes. So bunch of things depreciated, bunch of things replaced with. Okay, so they moved from Revit creation into somewhere boundary conditions. They're constantly trying to move everything out of this Autodesk Revit creation namespace and move into actual class, which I think is a good thing, but now something's still there, something's already moved, and they do it for many years already. That's interesting. Bunch of Revit API changes. You saw that lots of things got removed, and here we can see this is what would actually replaced with, at least those ones. Then let's see mechanical API changes, zones change for generic zones. This is we learned already. Then they fixed the spelling 2S versus 1S. Honestly, I think for this kind of changes they should have left like 1S, less bugs in the future, but that's their call. MAP fabrication API changes. So in fabrication, quite many things. So this is all just depreciated. This one replaced. Then more energy settings and more. If you're into energy calculations, there are like quite many changes. Now numbering API changes. So let's see. A bunch of things have been depreciated. And here is replacement member to this. So this is description. I don't know. I never worked with numbering schema, so I'm not going to look into that. Parameter API changes. So family instance host, blah, 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 blah. It will return valid ID if host exists, otherwise invalid ID. Okay. Independent tag leader types. You can see this, cloud parameters, and so on. Okay. Revision API changes, and okay, and I think that's it. So these are the changes. Also, once I'm going to release this Revit API documentation, there are a few settings that can help you. For example, we can click here on all new. And now I can go and through all of them and see what's happening, what works, what doesn't work. So these blue stars obviously mean that this is a new object. I consider quite a lot of new pages with blue stars. So that's going to take a while. So maybe it's better to look at classes and so on in general. Another thing, you can also go to the previous version. And yeah, that one doesn't exist because it's new. But we can look at all obsolete instead and see what actually was removed. If you want to go back and see all these obsolete messages, kind of go through all these items, it's very easy now to find obsolete items. And yeah, this way you can get all these obsolete messages. Maybe you're going to learn more and it's a little better navigation, in my opinion, but you decide. All right, and that's Revit API changes for 2027. Luckily, there are not so many general classes change like element, element ID, because I hate when they change them, because then nearly all your scripts going to be affected. This year it's mostly like structural rebar, something about zones, and some other kind of here and there, but not that many generals, which is good. I like that. Yeah, anyway, now we are ready to go back and start creating even more tools, and as usually, I'm gonna wish you happy coding. Oh, and by the way, if you want to check it out, the documentation that I use is RVTDocs.com. It's gonna look a bit different because it hasn't been published this new update yet. I'm still working on it, fixing a bunch of things here and there, but I think it's gonna be really, really cool. So you wanna keep an eye on that. And now, again, happy coding. See you in the next one. Goodbye.